Hey guys, I'm just gonna do a quick run through of the new Timex Expedition E Tide, but rather this is the new and improved version. This is the Intelligent Quartz Timex model. It's exactly the same. The face of the watch, everything is exactly the same, but as you will notice once it's focused, this is the Intelligent Quartz version, which is basically the improved Expedition version. They've obviously gone in and changed a lot of stuff that was not faulty in the first edition, but rather not really thought out of. So this is, for those of you who don't know, I'm just going to give you a quick run through of the watch. This is a multifunction watch. You can obviously see it's an analog watch. Time you can tell the time by reading the two dials. Obviously, right now it's just 6:12. But it has a compass, temperature sensor, and a tide indicator. So just a quick run through of the buttons here. You on this side, on the right side of the watch, you have the tide, the crown to change the date and time, and the Indiglo. This also works as the Indiglo, and the temperature. Now on the other side of the watch, you only have one button. This is the compass. So I'm just going to give you a quick run through of what each of these does. Right now I have it set to temperature, so if I press this right now, nothing's going to happen. But as you can see, right now you read off the red arrow, the red indicator. So right now you can tell that I'm reading on Celsius here. It's marking around 24 degrees Celsius inside my house. That seems about right, because I have it pretty warm in here due to winter. The temperature sensor is actually pretty accurate as long as you don't have it on your wrist when you're trying to read off the temperature. If you are wearing it when reading off the temperature, you will find that the temperature is at least 5 to 10 degrees off. And this is not surprising. I mean, your body heat influences the temperature sensor, and this is not the only model where this happens. So it's not a shortcoming at all. It's just the way it is. I mean, if the sensor were outside the watch face, then maybe you could read it differently. But as long as it is inside the casing, it will be affected by body heat. Now, it's important to notice that this arrow down here, the one that has a little circle on it, it really doesn't serve a function. It's just there for, just to make it look cool. But you rather read off of this one right here. So I'm just going to show you the tide now. If I press this button right here, so the watch will spin, the watch hand will spin, and then it'll tell me what tide it is. So right now it's marking low tide. Which it seems pretty accurate. I mean, I live pretty close to the beach, and I can tell you that that is about accurate. It's low tide right now. The way you read off of this is you can see around the watch face, you'll see these numbers 2, 1, high tide, and then 5, 4, half, 2, 1, low tide. How this works is every 6 hours you get high and low tide. You read clockwise, and so it's basically low tide right now, and in 3 hours it'll be half tide going on to high tide. And if it's high tide, it's obviously going to be 3 hours till half tide going on to low tide. So yeah, it's pretty simple to read. It is rather accurate. Most of this stuff comes calibrated when you unbox the watch. There are instructions for calibrating on the instruction manual though. It is a little bit complicated, but if you don't want it to be really off, I would recommend doing them. However, I've found that even if you just unbox the watch, you will find that the watch is actually pretty well calibrated from the factory. Now, the last thing you'll notice is the compass, so I'm just going to press this here. They really recommend that you put the watch in a flat surface when you're doing this, so this is why the compass on this demonstration is not going to be accurate. I can tell you from where I am that north is actually that way. So it's telling me that north is, a little bit behind me, but that's obviously wrong because I don't have it lie down on a flat surface. It also may be a little bit uncalibrated, but at the end of the day, I mean, I wouldn't recommend this compass for navigating the high seas. I mean, this is only to get around. So I wouldn't rely my life. I wouldn't solely rely on this if my life depended on this. And obviously, you want to have some other sort of instruments to guide you if you are indeed lost. But the compass gets the job done. It is pretty accurate. Again, it comes calibrated from factory settings. At least it did for me. But if you want to calibrate it, there's instructions to do so as well. When you press it, it only works for 20 seconds, and then it'll go back to the last setting you set it in. Mainly to conserve battery. This is awesome because otherwise, if you'd had it on all the time, I'm sure the battery of the watch would last, I don't know, maybe a day, maybe nothing. So it's pretty good that it turns off automatically. So let's just let it turn off. There you go. It's back to tide, which is what I had it at. I'm just going to put it in temperature because that's what I like to have. So there you see it spinning. And yeah, that's pretty much it. You got the date indicator down at the bottom. It says 19. You can't really see it. Oh, actually you can because of the hour indicator. But yeah, I mean, other than that, the biggest improvements from the previous model, well, the first thing is a lot of complaints were made due to the luminous paint that was used on the hand, on the hour hand and the minute hand. I can tell you that that's definitely been fixed. With my light shining on the watch here, I'll be able to show you how much the hands have been charged. From the month or so that I've had this watch, I've noticed that it charges pretty fast. If you have it on a light for, I don't know, a good amount of time, it'll charge without you even noticing, and the next time you walk into a dark room, you'll be able to tell the time immediately. I found that before I gone to bed, the watch hands have been charged without me noticing, obviously by the light inside my house. And then when everything's dark, it'll stay lit for a good amount of time. I mean, I've gone to bed, woke up 6 hours later, and even in the dark, I've been able to tell the time just by looking at the luminous paint on the hands. So I'm just going to do a quick demo of what it looks like. So bear in mind, this is only with the charging that I've done with the light that I have in front of my desk here. So there you go. Now, just to give you an idea, this kind of paint would require approximately 15 minutes of charging on the old Expedition model. On this one, it charges pretty fast. For some reason, the hands are showing as blue on my camera, but they're actually rather more green. You could see the tip of the indicator for the temperature is lit as well. That will, if you're looking at the tide, the temperature, or the compass for some reason or another at night, you'll be able to tell it if there's enough charge in that hand. Other than that, I can tell you the luminous paint is awesome. It's been improved greatly, and there's no more shortcomings from the previous model. Now, as long as I have the light off, the other shortcoming that was a big criticism of previous Expedition models and owners was the Indiglo. Now I'm going to show you the Indiglo before here. So this is the Indiglo now. You can tell the Indiglo lights up the whole watch face. It's absolutely awesome. You can definitely tell the time. You can tell the temperature even with that. You can tell everything pretty much except the date, which is irrelevant if you really want to wake up at night and find out what the date is. But you see that black ring around the watch face, the one that isn't lit? That entire black ring was the only part that was glowing on the old model. So this meant that the Indiglo light on the old model was absolutely garbage, and you could barely tell the time at night, even with or without the luminous paint. Apparently, if you did the Indiglo in the old model with the luminous paint, it would actually look worse. You couldn't even tell the time. So here you go. This is awesome. It's been improved. I'm very glad to say it's been improved for the best. And this is probably my favorite feature of the watch, because people really aren't expecting this when you ask them what time it is in the dark. Again, for some reason it's glowing blue in my camera, but it's rather a more green color than it is blue. But one last time, here you go. it turns off after 5 seconds to conserve battery, which again I think it's awesome. Like I said, to activate the Indiglo, you just hit the crown. The crown actually turns into a button when it's pushed all the way in, and that's how you activate the Indiglo. So I'm just gonna go ahead and turn my light on. And again, shortcomings from this specific model, in my opinion, one of them is that the spinning compass, it doesn't click, so it really, there's no indication of when it moves. This is just a minor shortcoming. I mean, I like to hear the clicking when I'm moving it, so you know, in case I move it with my shirt or something, I'm not gonna find it like this. Whereas if it would have clicked, I would have noticed immediately and returned it to the 12 position. Other than that, the other complaint I have is the watch band. It's actually made of silicone. It's durable, it's soft, it's bendy. But I really don't like it because if it attracts a lot of dust, it attracts a lot of particles because it is silicone. I'm not sure if you can see there, but you can see some dust in my watch band. It would have been way better if it was rubber, but then again, no complaints. The cool thing is that when you get this band wet, it doesn't look like it's been wet. It looks, you know, it's just like the water drips right out of the band, which is awesome. But then again, I'm not a big fan of dust, so there you go. And probably the last complaint I have, the temperature sensor. It'd be pretty cool if you could read an accurate temperature when you have the watch on your hand. If the sensor was outside the casing, it would be better. But then again, no big deal. I mean, it doesn't really affect the watch in any way. And lastly, my last complaint is from this take here. You can see that the second mover, the second ticker, it doesn't actually line up with the second markers on the watch face. Again, not a big deal unless you're really, really anal about this kind of stuff. But it's not a deal breaker. It definitely works. You know what it does what it should. And again, I wouldn't not buy this watch just because of that. But then again, you can definitely see it doesn't line up with the second markers. That's pretty much it. Other than that, I recommend this watch a lot. It's pretty cool. It's kind of big though. I'm a pretty big guy, and you can see here on my hand that it looks pretty big. It is kind of heavy. I wouldn't necessarily recommend this watch if you're someone skinny or who has a very small hand, because it's going to look gigantic. Oh, sorry, gigantic, I should say. And yeah, other than that, it's awesome. It's well worth the price of admission. I found this on sale for 150 Canadian. You can probably buy it in the States for cheaper, I'm pretty sure. This was on sale, by the way, but it's normally 195 Canadian before taxes. Like I said, you can probably find it in the States for a lot cheaper, but yeah, definitely recommend it. I'll probably be doing some more watch reviews. I have a few I could probably do that I own. Other than that, thanks for watching the video.